fluorescent lights of the disciplinary office hummed like angry wasps. I had been sitting in this hard plastic chair for 3 hours, my fingers numb from clutching my backpack straps so tightly. The room smelled of stale coffee and cheap disinfectant, the kind of smell that clings to places where people confess their sins. Except I had no sin to confess. I, Lin Weishi, scholarship student, architecture major, quiet girl who kept her head down and her grades up, was being accused of a crime I didn't commit. The stolen items were laid out on the table like evidence in a murder trial. A laptop, 2 designer watches, a gold necklace, and $300 in cash, all taken from my dorm room. All found in my backpack. The irony was almost laughable. I was the one who had reported the theft. I had gone to the dorm supervisor, my voice trembling, my hands shaking, and told her that someone had broken into my room while I was at the library. I had described the missing items. I had given her the times, the details, the timeline, that I had done everything a good citizen was supposed to do. And then they had searched my backpack. Ms. Lin, the disciplinary officer said, his voice flat and disinterested. The evidence is clear. The stolen property was in your possession. Your fingerprints are on the items. Your roommates have given statements. You have no alibi for the time of the theft. What do you have to say for yourself? I opened my mouth to speak, but the words wouldn't come. How do you defend yourself against a perfect crime that someone else has committed and framed you for? How do you prove your innocence when the evidence is stacked against you, when the witnesses are lying, when the system is designed to believe the worst? I didn't do it. I finally said, my voice so quiet I could barely hear it myself. I don't know how those items got into my backpack. Someone must have put them there. Someone who wanted to frame me. The officer sighed. He was a middle-aged man with tired eyes and a receding hairline. He had probably seen 100 students like me, guilty students who claimed innocence, who had elaborate stories, who were just trying to avoid punishment. He didn't believe me. He didn't even try to believe me. That's what they all say, he said, and I knew in that moment that I was lost. The punishment was swift and brutal. I was suspended from the university, pending investigation, and my scholarship was frozen. My name was plastered across the campus bulletin boards, across the social media feeds, across the gossip columns of a student newspaper. I was no longer Lin Weishi, the quiet architecture student. I was the thief, the criminal, the girl who stole from her own roommates. The students in my dormitory, the ones who had once smiled at me in the hallway, now looked through me as if I didn't exist. The professors who had praised my work now viewed me with suspicion. The friends I had made, the few I had, disappeared like smoke in the wind. I was alone, and I was going to prove my innocence, no matter what it cost me. Chapter 1. The Girl in the Mirror. Objective commentary. The observer's voice. Asterisk, asterisk. I want to pause here and tell you something about Lin Weishi. When I first saw her sitting in that disciplinary office with her back straight and her chin up, I thought she was a fool. She had that look, the look of someone who believes the world is fair, who believes that justice will prevail, who believes that truth will set her free. It was a naive look, a dangerous look, the kind of look that gets you destroyed. But I watched her. I watched her over the weeks that followed, as she walked through the campus like a ghost, her head held high despite the whispers, her eyes steady despite the tears. I watched her as she researched the case, as she gathered evidence, as she uncovered the truth that everyone else had missed, and I realized that she wasn't naive. She was determined. She was the kind of person who breaks, but who doesn't shatter. I should know. I was the one who found her. I was the one who listened to her story, and I was the one who helped her bring down the perfect student who had tried to destroy her. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Chapter 2. The Perfect Roommate. My roommate was Qin Yayan, and she was perfect. She was beautiful, with long black hair that fell in silky waves down her back, skin like porcelain, and eyes that sparkled with intelligence and charm. She came from a wealthy family, the kind of family that had summer homes in the Hamptons and winter vacations in Switzerland. She was the president of the student council, the captain of the debate team, the star of the fashion club. She had perfect grades, perfect friends, a perfect boyfriend from a rival university who was just as rich and just as perfect as she was. Everyone loved Qin Yayan. Everyone wanted to be Qin Yayan. Everyone believed in Qin Yayan. I had been thrilled when I was assigned to be her roommate. I had thought, in my naive way, that living with someone like Qin Yayan would be a learning experience. I had thought that some of her polish might rub off on me, that I might learn how to be more confident, more popular, more successful. I had been so wrong. The first thing I noticed was the way she talked to me. Did IT wasn't cruel. Not exactly. Did IT was worse than cruelty. Did IT was condescension. She spoke to me like I was a child, a pet, a project. She offered me advice I hadn't asked for, opinions I hadn't solicited, criticism I hadn't deserved. You should wear more makeup, Weishi, she would say, her voice dripping with false concern. It would really bring out your eyes. You should try being more outgoing, she would say. People would like you more if you weren't so quiet. You should stop spending so much time in the library, she would say. It's not healthy to be so obsessed with your studies. I smiled and nodded and took it all that I didn't have the confidence to push back, that I didn't have the social standing to argue. I was a scholarship student from a poor family, and she was Qin Yayan, the golden girl, the perfect student, the woman everyone admired. And then the theft happened. At first, I didn't suspect her. How could I? She was my friend. She was my roommate. She had given me advice, helped me with my homework, introduced me to her friends. Why would she steal from me? Why would she frame me? But as the investigation progressed, as the evidence piled up, as the accusations grew louder, I started to think. I started to notice the small things, the tiny clues that I had overlooked before. The way Qin Yayan had suggested I go to the library that night, the way she had offered to watch my backpack while I went to the bathroom, the way she had known exactly when the dormitory security cameras went down for maintenance, the way she had told the investigators that I had been acting suspiciously in the days before the theft. The more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Qin Yayan was the only person who had access to my room. Qin Yayan was the only person who knew my schedule. Qin Yayan was the only person who had the motivation to destroy me. But why? Why would the perfect student, the golden girl, the woman who had everything, want to ruin the life of a quiet, unassuming scholarship student like me? It took me a month to find the answer. Chapter 3. The truth beneath the perfect surface. Objective commentary. The observer's voice. Asterisk, asterisk. People like Qin Yayan are fascinating in a terrifying way. They're the ones who have everything, and yet they are consumed by jealousy of those who have nothing. They're the ones who are loved by everyone, and yet they are terrified that they are not enough. They are the ones who project an image of perfection, and yet they are rotting from the inside out. I had seen it before, that I had seen it in the corporate world, in the social world, in the world of politics. The people who seem to have it all are often the ones who are most desperate to destroy others, because their perfection is an illusion, a fragile mask, and they will do anything to protect it. Qin Yayan had a secret. IT was a secret that she was desperate to keep hidden, a secret that threatened to expose her entire carefully constructed life. And Lin Weishi, the quiet architecture student, the girl who kept her head down and her grades up, the girl who didn't care about popularity or social standing, was a threat to that secret. Because Lin Weishi was smarter than her, and Qin Yayan couldn't stand it. I found the answer in Qin Yayan's old diary, which she had left behind in a drawer after a hurried trip home. I shouldn't have read it. I knew I shouldn't have. It was an invasion of privacy, a violation of trust. But I was desperate. I was drowning and I needed something, anything, to help me stay afloat. The diary was a catalog of envy, hatred, and obsession. October 15, that I hate her, that I hate the way she walks into class and everyone turns to look at her, that I hate the way she answers questions so quickly, so confidently. I hate the way the professors smile at her, that I hate the way she doesn't even try, and yet she's better than me at everything. October 20, she got the highest grade on the exam. Again, that I studied for 3 nights straight, and she didn't even study. I saw her in the library, reading a novel. While I was memorizing formulas, it's not fair. It's not fair, and I can't take it anymore. November 2, I have a perfect plan. I'm going to destroy her. I'm going to make her life so miserable that she'll drop out or kill herself. I don't care which, I just need her gone. I need her to disappear. November 5, I planted the stolen items in her backpack today. IT was so easy. She's so trusting, so stupid. She didn't suspect a thing. I laughed when she reported the theft. I laughed while she was crying. I am going to destroy her. I am going to win. The diary entries went on for page after page, filled with venom and madness. Qin Yayan was obsessed with me. She hated me because I was smart. She hated me because I was successful. She hated me because I had never done anything to hurt her, and that made her hate me even more. I sat in my tiny room, the diary in my hands, and I felt something shift inside me. It wasn't fear. It wasn't anger. It was something else. Something I had never felt before. It was power. Because I had the truth now. I had the evidence. I knew what Qin Yayan had done, and I knew how to prove it. And I was going to make her pay. Chapter 4. The Trap. Objective commentary. The observer's voice. Asterisk, asterisk. Watching Lin Weishi plan her revenge was like watching a chess grandmaster. She didn't rush. She didn't make careless mistakes. She calculated every move, anticipated every counter-move, and prepared for every possibility. I had seen that kind of intelligence before. IT was the kind of intelligence that could bring down empires. And Qin Yayan, with all her arrogance, with all her confidence, with all her perfect plans, didn't stand a chance. The thing about people like Qin Yayan is that they think they're untouchable. They think they've gotten away with everything. They think they're too smart to be caught, too powerful to be challenged. And that's when they make mistakes. That's when they underestimate their opponents. Qin Yayan had underestimated Lin Weishi. She had seen a quiet girl, a scholarship student, and nobody. She hadn't seen the steel underneath the surface. She hadn't seen the determination, the intelligence, the burning desire for justice. And that was going to be her undoing. I didn't confront Qin Yayan immediately. I waited. I observed. I gathered more evidence. I installed a hidden camera in our room that I documented her behavior, her conversations, her interactions with the other students. I collected testimonies from witnesses who had seen her near the scene of the theft. I found the receipts for the items she had borrowed from me, the items she had planted in my backpack. I built a case, a perfect case, a case that would destroy her. And then I waited for the right moment to strike. That moment came at the student council election. Qin Yayan was running for re-election as president. IT was her crowning achievement, the peak of her social power. She had spent months campaigning, making promises, shaking hands, kissing babies. She was the favorite. She was going to win. But I had other plans. I requested to speak at the election assembly. I was the first to sign up, the first to submit my name. Qin Yayan laughed when she saw my name on the list. She didn't know what I was going to say. She thought I was going to talk about something boring, something academic, something irrelevant. She had no idea what I had planned. The night of the assembly, the auditorium was packed. Hundreds of students had gathered to hear the speeches, to cast their votes, to participate in the great democratic process. Qin Yayan was in the front row, surrounded by her friends, her supporters, her admirers. She was wearing a beautiful red dress, her hair styled perfectly, her makeup flawless. She was a queen, and everyone was her subject. I walked to the podium. I adjusted the microphone. I looked out at the crowd of students, at the faces of people who had judged me, who had condemned me, who had believed the lies about me. And I spoke. "Good evening, everyone," I said, my voice steady and clear. "My name is Lin Weishi. You might remember me. I'm the girl who was accused of stealing from her own roommates. I'm the girl who was suspended from the university, who lost her scholarship, who was publicly humiliated. I'm the girl who was framed." A murmur ran through the crowd. Qin Yayan's face went pale. She tried to stand, tried to interrupt, but I had already started my presentation. I had already started to reveal the truth. "I have proof that the theft was not committed by me," I said. "I have proof that the items were planted in my backpack. I have proof of who the real thief was." I pulled out the diary, the camera footage, the receipts, the testimonies that I displayed them on the large screen behind me. I read aloud from Qin Yayan's diary, her words echoing through the silent auditorium. "I hate her. I'm going to destroy her. I'm going to make her life so miserable that she'll drop out." The crowd gasped. Qin Yayan was on her feet, shouting, screaming, denying, but no one was listening. They were all looking at the screen, at the evidence, at the truth. The perfect student was not so perfect after all. Objective commentary. The observer's voice. Asterisk, asterisk. That moment, right there, was when Lin Weishi became a legend. She stood on that stage, in front of hundreds of students, her voice steady, her hands steady, her eyes steady. She was calm. She was collected. She was completely in control. And she destroyed Qin Yayan with nothing more than the truth. I have never seen a more complete victory. Qin Yayan had built her life on a foundation of lies, and Lin Weishi had pulled that foundation out from under her. There was no struggle, no drama, no counterattack, just the simple, devastating power of facts. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. It was justice. And it was only the beginning. Chapter 5, The Fall. Chin Yayan was arrested the next day. The campus police found the stolen items in her room, hidden in a false bottom of her suitcase. The forensic team matched her fingerprints to the items. The testimonies of the witnesses, the camera footage, the diary entries, it was all there. The university expelled her. The student council stripped her of her title. Her friends abandoned her. Her boyfriend broke up with her. Her family, shocked and embarrassed, cut off all contact. She was alone. She was disgraced. She was destroyed. But I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel satisfaction. I felt something else. Something I hadn't expected. I felt pity. Chin Yayan had had everything. She had been loved by everyone. She had been on top of the world. And she had thrown it all away because of jealousy. Because she couldn't stand the fact that there was someone smarter, someone better, someone who was gaining more attention than her. In the end, it wasn't me who had destroyed her. It was her own insecurity, her own fear, her own inability to accept that she wasn't perfect. I walked to the disciplinary office to give my final statement. The officer was the same one who had accused me all those months ago. He looked at me differently now, with respect, maybe with apology. Ms. Lin, he said, I want to apologize. I misjudged you. I believed the evidence without considering the possibility that it was fabricated. I should have listened to you. I should have investigated more thoroughly. I nodded. It's okay, I said. You were doing your job. You can't be expected to see the truth when you don't have all the information. But you did, he said. You found the truth. You investigated on your own. You didn't give up, even when everyone was against you. That takes courage, Ms. Lin. That takes strength. I smiled. A small, tired smile. Thank you, I said. He handed me a folder. Your scholarship has been reinstated. Your suspension has been expunged from your record. You are welcome back to the university, Ms. Lin. We would be honored to have you. Objective commentary. The observer's voice. Asterisk, asterisk. And that's where the story should have ended. Lin Weishi vindicated. Chin Yayan punished. Justice served. But it didn't end there. Because something had changed inside Lin Weishi. Something had been awakened. The girl who had been quiet, who had kept her head down, who had accepted her fate, she was gone. In her place was someone different, someone stronger, someone who would never again let the world push her around. I watched her over the following months. She didn't go back to being the quiet scholarship student. She didn't fade into the background. She became a leader. She started a student advocacy group. She spoke out against injustice. She became a voice for the voiceless. The university honored her. The student newspaper profiled her. The professors praised her. She had become, in her own way, as famous as Chin Yayan had once been, but she was different. She hadn't achieved her fame through lies and manipulation. She had achieved it through courage, determination, and truth. I met her for coffee a few months after the trial. She was the same girl, in many ways still quiet, still thoughtful, still humble, but there was a new light in her eyes, a new confidence in her voice. I never wanted to be famous, she told me. I never wanted to be a leader. I just wanted to be left alone. I wanted to study, to graduate, to get a job, to live a quiet life. But you're not quiet anymore, I said. She laughed. No, she said. I guess I'm not. Did I learn something? Through all of this, did I learn that silence is not safety, that keeping your head down is not protection, that sometimes the only way to survive is to fight. She looked out the window at the campus that had once rejected her, that now celebrated her. I'm not going to be quiet anymore, she said. I'm not going to let anyone trample on me. I'm going to fight for what's right. I'm going to use my voice, my intelligence, my strength. I'm going to make a difference. And she did. She went on to become a lawyer, a human rights advocate, a fierce defender of the innocent. She helped countless people who had been wrongfully accused, who had been pushed to the margins, who had been dismissed and forgotten. She became, in the end, the person Chin Yayan had always wanted to be, a woman who was admired, respected, and loved. But she achieved it without destroying anyone. She achieved it through hard work, integrity, and compassion. I couldn't have been prouder. Chapter 6, The Last Laugh. The final confrontation came 5 years later. I was sitting in my office, reviewing a case file, when the receptionist buzzed me. Ms. Lin, there's someone here to see you. She says she's an old friend. Her name is Chin Yayan. I felt a chill run down my spine. Qin Yayan, the woman who had tried to destroy me, the woman who had succeeded, for a time, until I had fought back. Send her in, I said. Qin Yayan walked into my office. She was different now, broken, aging. Her beautiful black hair was streaked with gray. Her porcelain skin was lined with worry. Her eyes, once so bright and confident, were now hollow and filled with regret. Hello, Weishi, she said. Hello, Qin Yayan, I said. It's been a long time. Yes, she said. It has been. She sat down in the chair across from me, her hands folded in her lap, her eyes fixed on the floor. She looked like she had been carrying a heavy weight for a very long time. I'm not here to cause trouble, she said. I'm not here to start anything. I wanted to say something. Something I should have said a long time ago. She paused, took a breath, and then she said the words I had never expected to hear from her. I'm sorry, she said. I'm so sorry for what I did to you. I was jealous. I was insecure. I was so afraid that you would surpass me, that you would take everything I had, that I would be nothing, that I would be forgotten, and I tried to destroy you to protect myself. IT was wrong. It was evil, and I have regretted it every single day. I stared at her for a moment. I didn't know what to say. I had spent years imagining this moment, imagining what I would do when I finally confronted her. I had imagined rage. I had imagined revenge. I had imagined an endless list of accusations and condemnations. But now that the moment was here, I felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. Just a quiet, peaceful calm. Thank you, I said. Thank you for saying that. It means more than you know. Qin Yayan looked up, surprised. You're not angry? You're not going to yell at me? You're not going to tell me how much I hurt you? I shook my head. No, I said. I was angry. Once that I was furious. But that anger was heavy. Qin Yayan, IT weighed me down, that IT kept me from moving forward. And I realized eventually that I couldn't carry that weight forever. I had to let it go, that I had to forgive you. She started to cry. Ugly, messy, grateful tears. Thank you, she sobbed. Thank you. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't deserve anything. But thank you. I stood up, walked around my desk, and knelt down beside her. I put my hand on her shoulder. Qin Yayan, I said, we were both young, we both made mistakes. But we are not defined by our worst moments. We are defined by how we respond to them. You have taken responsibility for what you did. You have apologized. That takes courage, and I respect you for that. She wiped her tears. What are you going to do now? I smiled. I'm going to keep fighting for what's right. I'm going to keep defending the innocent. I'm going to keep using my voice, my intelligence, my strength. I'm going to make a difference. She nodded. That sounds like a good plan. It is, I said, and you can be part of it. If you want to, I can help you rebuild your life. I can help you find a new purpose. I can help you become the person you were always meant to be. She looked at me, her eyes filled with a tentative hope. You would do that after everything I did to you? I smiled again. That's what justice is, Qin Yayan. It's not just about punishment. It's about redemption. It's about giving people a second chance. It's about building a better world. She took my hand. Thank you, she said. I don't deserve your kindness, but I will try to be worthy of it. And that was the moment when I truly became whole. The moment when I realized that the greatest victory wasn't winning the trial or clearing my name or destroying my enemy. It was finding the strength to forgive. IT was finding the courage to help someone who had hurt me. It was finding the wisdom to see that we are all flawed, all broken, all capable of both terrible cruelty and redemptive grace. Epilogue, the architect of her own life. Objective commentary, the observer's voice, asterisk, asterisk. So, that's the story. Lin Weishi, the girl who was framed, who fought back, who won. And then, in the end, who forgave. People ask me sometimes, why did she forgive Qin Yayan? After everything Qin Yayan did to her, why didn't she just let her rot in her own misery? Why didn't she take her revenge and enjoy it? And I tell them, because Lin Weishi is not Qin Yayan. She was never Qin Yayan. She was never consumed by jealousy or hatred or the desperate need for validation. She was always something else. Something stronger, something pure. She was a builder, an architect, and a creator. She didn't want to tear things down. She wanted to build them up, and that is what she did. She built a life. She built a career. She built a reputation. And she built a legacy of kindness, justice,